It's Gill Alexander. It's Kelly Bidlin, live from Barcanada, the barrage here at the D. Glorious, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. How you doing, sir? You good?
I'm doing great.
I
How
see
about
you
you?
feverishly typing away on your
Yeah,
computer.
you know me. I'm being very quiet, like a mouse over here typing.
Kelly Bidlin
This mice type or something.
just types on a keyboard harder than any human being I've ever encountered in my life.
I punch those keys with purpose, Gil.
You do. You do just that. On the show today, Will Hill will join us. We'll do a whole college basketball team-by-team roll call like we did with Matty Cox from Three Man Weave. We'll get Will's thoughts. Will, who called FAU in the Final Four famously on the Megapod last year. We'll talk to him about that. And Jason Weingart from Under a Cloud of Smoke. I want to start the show. Usually when I come back from vacation after the Super Bowl, I do vacation, then I come back, and we kind of have a couple staples, one of which was updating the college basketball formula, which we did yesterday. In case you missed it, we isolated 4 teams that qualify, another 4 that were just on the outside looking in. And then I sort of segue into the sort of annual baseball segment, which is to get into my favorite season win total, my favorite pre-flop season win total of the upcoming Major League Baseball season. Now, this is the kind of thing that I used to do for years and years. I would do multiples of these in a manifesto. We've just kind of made it a tradition on a numbers game to do it. I'll do one, and then we'll bring on some experts to do all theirs. Last year, mine was the over on the Texas Rangers. Rangers were, I think, at around 81.5. I said way over on the Rangers for reasons which I will go through. Same sort of routine we go through here momentarily. They not only soar to the over on their season win total, they end up winning it all. They end up winning the World Series. I was buoyed here because Roxy, the great Roxy Roxborough, founder of Las Vegas Sports Consultants and the best-dressed man in the sports book that you will find him in, he, during football season, had sent me a kind note about it. And talking about our podcast that we did about it last year, we also do a Beating the Book baseball preview show where we talk season win totals. And then a couple weeks ago, while I was on vacation, he also sent me a note about a certain team. So it's sort of, not to name drop, just to say this sort of reminded me, let's do this. And so we do it. Also, Chris St. Bart's on Twitter was wondering when we're going to do it. So this is mechanical. When you listen to mainstream media talk about baseball season win totals as you will, what it will essentially be is a discussion about, oh, they got these players, they lost these players. That's obviously very important, but it's not primary. And to me, it's not secondary. Kelly, it's tertiary. I didn't think I'd use that word today, but there you go. Tertiary, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I think I can go home now. What it is mechanical first. Team has a record from the previous year. Most analysis starts there. But that's not how good baseball season win totals bettors do things. And by the way, season win totals in baseball pre-flop still remains one of the best betting vehicles there is to me because you have 162 data points. You can overcome negative variance if your handicap is good more easily than you can, say, in the NFL where there's only 17 games, and for God's sakes, in college football where there's even fewer. So, first thing we look at is Bill James' Pythagorean theorem. Now, it's not the Pythagorean theorem that you learned in geometry class when you were in high school. God help you. I hope you learned it. It's not that one. It's just a fancy name giving to Bill James, the great sabermetrician, about his tried and true formula. There won't be any math. I'll spare you from it. Runs scored by a team for the entire year, runs prevented. Runs scored, runs prevented. With that, his formula, tried and true, can come up with an expected win percentage. That might have been what your final record is, but here, based on runs produced and runs prevented, is what your record ought to have been, win percentage converted into a record. Now, every year, that's the first level we go through. So who are the biggest overperformers and underperformers from the previous year based on Bill James' Pythagorean theorem? The biggest overperformers, the Miami Marlins, who won 84 games, but really were a 74 win, according to Bill James' Pythagorean theorem, a 74 win team disguised as an 84 win team. Also big overperformers by 6 games each, Baltimore, Detroit, and Pittsburgh, each overperforming what the record ought to have been by 6 games. The biggest underperformers, according to just runs produced and runs prevented, Bill James' Pythagorean theorem, expected win percentage, in other words. The biggest underperformers were the Texas Rangers, once again. Even though they won it all and still soared over their season win total, they were the biggest underperformer. They should have won 8 more games than they did. They were a 90-win team, but should have won 98 per runs produced and runs prevented. Cubs also underperformed by 8 games. Minnesota by 7, Kansas City by 6. Okay, that's one level. So, but these are how you winnow down the candidates for the best season win total bet from our perspective. Bill James' Pythagorean theorem, expected win percentage, I should say, lets you know how many runs were scored, how many runs were prevented by each team. It doesn't tell you how they got to those numbers. And that's where we go to something called sequencing. Sequencing, base runs is another way of some websites talking about it. They're all basically talking about sequencing. And again, the example we use every year, and forgive me if you've heard this in the past, but for new audiences, we want to get through this. Let's say there's an inning, Kelly, where there's 7 events, and a team goes walk, 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 home run, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. Well, that team will score 4 runs, right? The grand slam. Mm-hmm. And then it will go to the other team. Same events, but instead, right, it's home run, walk, 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 strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. Same 7 events, that team will only have scored 1 run. Offensively, defensively, every half inning for an entire season. Some teams get super fortunate with that. Some teams very unfortunate with how sequencing goes. And we can't control sequencing, generally speaking. So that's part of this calculus as well. So what we're looking for is, and this is what was the case with the Rangers last year, is what of Bill James' Pythagorean theorem is buttressed by also sequencing that sort of corroborates that. And so from the overperformers, really what we have are teams that, and you have to juxtapose all of this by, okay, and then what is their season win total? What you have is, let's take Baltimore. Baltimore was a 101-win team. According to according to Bill James, they should have won 95 games. According to sequencing, they should have won 89 games. Problem is that their season win total is 90.5, so it doesn't really make for a good bet, in my humble opinion. Others will have a different one. Another sort of team where the base runs corroborated, the sequencing corroborated the overperforming or the underperforming. The Miami Marlins, who we referred to, who overperformed by 10 games per expected win percentage. They also were not only an 84 team disguised as a 74-win team based on expected wins, they would have been a 77-win team when it came to sequencing. So interesting. They could be a candidate. But to me, the biggest season win totals plays are actually on the underperforming side. Let me give you a couple of the candidates that fell short that aren't going to be my single favorite one. Minnesota, who underperformed by 7 games according to expected wins, runs produced, runs prevented. 87 wins in the standings of last year, should have been a 94-win team. By sequencing, should have been a 93-win team. Their season win total is at 86.5. That seems like an over, but that's not my favorite one. Kansas City's another candidate. Still not my favorite one. They were a 56-win team last year, Kelly. By expected wins, should have been a 62-win team. By base runs, by sequencing, should have been a 66-win team. But their season win total is 73.5. So I don't want to mess with that. Here is my Here is my third favorite, by the way, would be the Texas Rangers again. But I'm not playing it. Texas was a 90-win team. We already described they should have been a 98-win team, according to expected wins, the Pythagorean theorem, Bill James. Should have been a 97-win team, according to sequencing. Their season win total is 89.5. If you want to play the Rangers over again, have at it. I would not have any problem with that whatsoever. My second favorite, the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs last year, 83 wins in the standings. Should have been 91 win. Should have been a 91-win team by expected win percentage. Should have been a 91-win team according to sequencing. And their season win total is 84.5. And the Cubs, if you want to get into what you'll hear in mainstream media, now that's to me is the third part of all this. That could get buttressed by saying someone like Seiya Suzuki, who had an amazing second half of the season last year, 938 OPS. Michael Busch, first base, is going to be a big thing for the Cubs. They got some prospects in Ben Brown, Pete Crow Armstrong. So you can make the case for the Cubs as a very solid over team. If you want to bet the Cubs over, have at it. To me, that's the second best. The best, it's not quite as sexy as the Rangers, which seemingly came out of nowhere to most when I said it last year. It's the San Diego Padres over. San Diego Padres over, to me, is the best season win total play. It's an overplay on the Padres. Here's why. They only won 82 games last year. They should have been a 93-win team based on expected wins. They should have been a 91-win team based on sequencing. Their season win total this year is just 81.5. You are just asking the San Diego Padres to have a winning season. 82-80 will get it done. I think they'll be much better than that. I think they'll clear it. But that's all you're asking for a team that still has Fernando Tatis Jr., who shored up their starting rotation with Michael King and Randy Vasquez, and really their biggest bugaboo is their bullpen. They made many a move there. You're not trying to win baseball games by becoming an all-star team. The reason that this season win total is muted is because they don't have Juan Soto anymore, and because Blake Snell will not be in a San Diego Padres uniform. And so folks are like, what do you mean you're losing the Cy Young Award winner? Blake Snell was not going to overperform that again this year anyway, so you don't have to worry about that having been lost. He was really smoke and mirrors last year. The Padres, 11 games better by expected wins last year, and 9 games better by sequencing. You're only asking them to clear 81.5 when they were really a 90-plus win team? Really last year? Give me the Padres over as my favorite Major League Baseball pre-flop season win total. Have at it. We'll come back. We'll talk NBA. It's on the other side. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Baseball is back, and what better way to hit off the grapefruit cactus leagues than with VSiN's free MLB betting primer. This primer will tell you how to bet on spring training and continue all season long with our VSiN experts' World Series futures analysis. Our free MLB betting primer has basic baseball betting advice for those new to betting MLB, plus a breakdown on how to use sabermetrics for more data-driven bettors to make this your best season yet. Bet the MLB smarter this year. Download the free MLB betting primer now for free at VSiN.com/guide. That's VSIN.com/guide. Felt like we did a little baseball primer there moments ago.
Yeah.
It's Gill Alexander. It's Kelly Bidlin. Before we continue with our normal betting fare here, I wanted to send a shout out to someone who is a friend and who has been a regular guest on this show. Not only this show, but also on throughout the network. But we've had him on since the inception, who has been going through some stuff. And it was unbeknownst to any of us. Chris Zanuck, who you know better as Las Vegas Chris. Las Vegas Chris, who has won multiple contests, multiple NFL and college football handicapping contests here in the desert for the better part, actually more than a decade now. Stations, the Win, Palms, finished second and fifth at Circa a couple years back. Chris, for 2 or 3 years now, has been fighting cancer. None of us knew anything about it. He chose, as is his right, to sort of keep it private, not only sort of, but tremendously private, just he and his wife knowing about that. I want to get to the end of this before I continue with this because people are going to wonder, is he okay? He is okay. Doctors tell him that there is a 25% chance of that cancer coming back. So each day, knowing that the percentages are in his favor, but obviously 25% is 25%, Chris is on the road to recovery. Some things are easier than others. And I bring this up not only because he's a friend of ours, but because Chris did something that I found to be really just brave and honest and, quite frankly, helpful. What he did was he posted a 90-minute clip to his Twitter. It is his pinned tweet. He's at Las Vegas Chris. That's Chris without an H. If you get a chance later, not only today, this week, this month, whenever you have a chance, because we're all getting older, so many of us have been affected, if not personally, but with family members by cancer. Chris goes through his journey, his ordeal, and all of the arcs of that, all of the ups and downs of it. And he does it, first of all, in just riveting fashion. He doesn't do it for the sake of taking you through that roller coaster. He does it for the sake of helping those of us who might be in his situation at some point in the future, or those of us who might have a family member who we will have to care for in his situation or a similar situation in the future. And what I mean by that is Chris goes through how he had to interact with doctors, how he interacted with the medical establishment, and he gives a bunch of really helpful pointers that hopefully if you find yourself in that situation, God forbid in the future, but some of us inevitably will, that you will be able to glean from and to really help with your care moving forward. So again, it's at Las Vegas Chris, CRIS on his name. We wish him the best. I hope that he's on this show, and we trust that he'll be on this show for many more years to come. We hope he'll be winning contests for many more years to come. But I just wanted to give him a shout-out because, Kelly, he sent me a DM while I was on vacation, and in typical Chris fashion, because he is super non-assuming about this stuff, he was just like, hey, when you get a chance, check out this video. And the title on his video was just, my toughest handicap. So I think he's sending me a football video.
Yep.
So I'm like, I took him at his word. I'm like, okay, when I get a chance, I'm on vacation. And then Mike Alvarez, one of our longtime loyal listeners and all-around great guy, hilarious guy, tweeted something about it, and he tagged me. And then stupid me finally put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, oh, maybe I should watch this video. And I was just locked into it. And I want to say, not only do we wish Chris all the best and hope that this goes swimmingly well, and he lives many, many long years and decades hence, but just the honesty, the transparency, and his willingness to really take us through a play-by-play, for lack of a better term, of his journey and how there was so much relatable there in terms of, I felt, interacting with the medical establishment, which I thought was particularly helpful. Also, though, I apologize to him not only for not watching his video immediately, for being thrown off, but also that, those of us, especially, I'm sure this is true in every walk of life, but in betting, we tend to interact based on our bets. Oh, who do you got in tennis today? Oh, who do you got in golf this week? And Kelly will have golf picks, and I'll have a tennis pick coming up. We tend to interact that way. We don't
always make the joke on Mondays where it's like, how was your weekend?
Yeah.
And it was like, I lost this. They're like, but how was your weekend as a person?
That's our currency, right? That's all we ever talk about. For instance, Kelly, when was the last time you sent me an I love you text? I don't remember the last time. But what I said to Chris was, I was like, I know, we don't hang out every day, but I felt bad that I just never checked in on him. I never assumed anything was wrong with him. And it was by choice, and that, again, every right to be his choice to do it. And by the way, a special shout-out as well to his wife, which he conveys in that video as well, that she has been so supportive in his recovery. And he was superhuman. He really let go in that video where he talked about how, he wanted his wife to keep it quiet, how unfair that was to his wife. You got to watch the video. It was just awesome. We wish Las Vegas Chris, our buddy, the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris is, like you said, I think for obviously anybody that's listened to watch your show, I've seen him many, many times, but everywhere around the network, it was always, at the South Point. We'd run into him every 3 weeks at the South Point or whatever, and have a great little 8-minute chat or whatever, and, then move on. And it was just, great guy. That's awesome he did that.
Yeah. And by the way, just talking about it for 5 minutes here, to say that it doesn't do justice to what he's been through the last 2 or 3 years is the understatement of all understatements. But again, if you have some time and might relate to it more than others, please do check it out. There is no artful way to segue to betting, and specifically NBA fewest regular season wins market in betting. But that's what's up next here, and we do this because we were inspired last night by so many things in the NBA. Obviously, Max Strus nailing a jumper. Can we call it a jumper? Not really. A heave from 60-plus.
That was wild.
For the Cavs to beat the Mavs at the buzzer was probably the highlight of the night. But one of the other things that happened in the NBA.
One of the best games I feel like I've watched all season.
Cavs-Mavs?
Yeah, it was that Cavs-Mavs game last night. That was great.
I'm sure they're doing segments on First Take about Cavs-Mavs, who's the bigger surprise. They'll knock out a couple segments on that. But the other thing was, your guy Tyrese Maxey scored 32, but the Sixers still lost to the Celtics. You still have a bet on Tyrese. But if the Sixers keep losing games, my God, I don't know about your bet, man, for most improved. But the Pistons won.
See, that's what's funny, though. We talk about players and teams for these awards.
Yeah.
I actually think it's more impressive to me, right? If Maxey if he scores 30 plus without a Joel Embiid on the court.
Listen, if you people will not let Wembanyama win Defensive Player of the Year because this somehow Gobert's winning a team award, I thought it was an individual award, Defensive Player of the Year, but apparently you're all telling me that's a team award. Your Maxey bet's a team award too.
I was enjoying watching Mark Spears and Tim McMahon get into it yesterday on ESPN over this exact same.
Really?
Oh yeah, this exact
which
same.
side was Spears on?
Spears was on your side, and Tim McMahon was on. He was like, "You cannot possibly have Wembanyama win this when the defense is overall that bad." And of course, Mark Spears is like, "Who's putting up stat lines like this ever?"
Spears is right, but because he's on because I'm on his side, I'm going to be wrong in terms of the bet.
Me and him got a burrito together at Summer League.
Spears?
AKA, we stood in the same line.
Oh, me and Spears used to hang out. We went to Chappelle together.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Pistons win their 9th game. They beat the Bulls last night and did it by 10.
Yeah.
All right, so bottom of the NBA standings. This is a horse race for this thing.
I love this because I brought this up yesterday. I brought up the Wizards yesterday.
Both the Wiz and the Pistons. Well, I brought it up with Avdia because, of course, greatest moment in 2024 betting and just sports. Wizards and Pistons have each won 9 games. They're both 9-49. The aforementioned Spurs, not Pistons, Spurs 11-48. So they got 2 more wins. Apologies to the Portland Trailblazers who have 15 and the Charlotte Hornets have 15, who really are, on the outside looking in, if you will. Bizarre world. Pistons are plus 120. Wizards are plus 120. They both have 9 wins. The Spurs are plus 425. Is there a bet here?
I still think it's the Wizards. This Pistons team is just they're the Wizards feel so fully in the tank right now. It's 12 in a row they're up to. You could sit there and look at the 12 different games that they've lost and tell me they've lost to good teams, yeah. But man, you watch this team out on the court. Even last night when they had things tight with Golden State for a while, and then it was just like, then the game just got completely out of hand. It is. They got a slightly tougher schedule remaining. I think they are the worst team. You see this Pistons team with a healthy Cade Cunningham back. I think they'll still pick up a couple more wins.
The Wiz?
Yeah, the Pistons. I think they pick up a couple more wins. So fewest wins. I like the Wizards.
Yeah. Wizards is your bet. Spurs much harder schedule, which is not good in this category. And as Kelly said, just a small gap between the Pistons and Wizards. We'll come back. Will Hill joins us. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Put the VSiN experts to work for you and start betting smarter with the VSiN Pro subscription. Sign up on a VSiN Pro annual subscription today and get your first year for only $199 instead of the typical price of $240. Just use promo code ANG. Get VSiN Pro access to everything we do for an entire year, including our daily best bets with the leaderboard to see which VSiN expert has the hot hand, betting splits to show you where the money and bets are moving for every game, betting systems, premium analysis, and 24/7 video access, plus our upcoming March Madness betting guide with best bets for every game and rounds of the tournament. Remember to use promo code ANG, though.
That's promo code ANG, as in a numbers game.
Get your first year of VSiN Pro access for only $199. Sign up today at VSiN.com/subscribe. Kelly and I play a game of chicken right there.
That's right.
Is he going to talk? Is he not going to talk? Is he going to step on me? We get tweets at Beanie the Book. I always appreciate the feedback on everything. This is from Trip Tepper. He says, Kelly Bidlin is the Isaiah Pacheco of typing. He types angry. It's very true. Isaiah Pacheco, running angry. Nemesis Enforcer. Hey, bro. We'll be in town for New Edition residency. Going to try to stop by Friday before the show and holla at you and Kelly. Please do. We're at the lovely D, Bar Canada, here on the 2nd floor. Here's my thing with the New Edition residency, and I'm probably not the consensus on this. I don't want to see Fat Bobby Brown going up and down on stage. He gets really winded.
Where are they playing at?
Oh, I can't remember. Is it Venetian or somewhere on the Strip? But I just can't. I went to see Johnny Gill in D.C. a few years back, and even that I was like, oh boy, Bobby Brown, man. All right, but I'd love to see you though. Nemesis. I've begun to gather my things is a handle on Twitter. Oh, he's talking about the season win totals. He goes, sorry if I missed it. San Diego Padres over. He's asking for my other favorites. So I sort of went through my second and third favorite there on the show. So if it's Padres first, Cubs second for me in terms of my 2 overs. He's asking about unders specifically. I don't like any of the unders as much as I like those 2. Teasers and parlays. Loving the baseball talk this morning, and Gill saying tertiary in the first segment cashes at all numbers. Yes, it does. And Steve in Vegas. The Padres seem like an obvious over when you also look back at their 6-20 record in one-run games last year. Yes, thank you very much. I think they were also 0-9 or worse in extra innings. Do you remember that? How they could not win an extra inning game last year. And Steve in Vegas puts it in perspective. He says, if you reverse their record in one-score games last year, one-run games he's talking about last year, they would have won 96 games. So
yeah, that's wild.
To me, I know it's not as out of left field as the Rangers was last year, but 81.5 on the Padres, I ain't asking them to win 100. I'm asking them to win 82. That's the best bet on the board to me.
I like
on the Padres.
Lose a couple pieces, but yeah, you're adjusting, over-adjusted downward, huh?
You don't win World Series with an all-star team. You don't. And we're all, in the NBA, oh, Dame's on the Bucks, they're going to win it all. Oh, Harden, Kyrie, and KD are playing for the Nets. Oh, they're going to win it all.
How could they lose?
Look at the Suns. They got Beal, KD, and Devin Booker. How can they not win it all? And we do it all the time. This is the better way for the Padres to get it done with the improvements that we talked about. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the star of so many things, including the Beating the Book Football Megapod and its March Madness preview as well. He's got his own podcast. It's called Shoulda Bet More, and he's one of the key cogs in Chris Felica's Bear Bets Pod over at Fox Sports. It's Will Hill, everybody, at Not The Will Hill on Twitter. How you doing, Will?
Gilly, what's going on? I'm happy to have you back. There was not a dry eye in the house when you retold that Denny Avdia Valentine's Day performance story. I felt like I was there.
Listen, I don't know. I don't understand why people didn't catch the best line from yesterday, which was a Gentile. It's like a Gentile scoring 93.
That was a good one.
Thank you for pointing that out. Will, first of all, why don't we get to see your beautiful face here today, man? What's happening? Bad connection?
I'm wondering the same thing. I don't know. It's a little bit of a Skype issue where I'm not sure. I don't know who's in the tongue.
Well, we were just talking baseball, and I know you and I are both waiting to hear what Jason has to say because he's Mr. Baseball around these parts. Have you made any season-long baseball bets, sir?
I've made a few. I did play the Rockies under. I think I got it 60.5. I don't know if that number's still there. It might have ticked down to 59.5 at most books for Rockies under wins. I just think you start with the division they play in. The Dodgers, we know, are going to be a machine during the regular season. They're projected to win their 104, 105 games. I would actually play the over there. And you mentioned the Padres, who are due for some positive regression, 1-12 in extra inning games, all the reasons you just went through. The Diamondbacks went to the World Series. The Giants are still a decent team despite their fans all being bad people. So look, if you go through, if you just go through that pitching staff, it's an awful staff. I mean, Cal Quantrill, you name it. They have a bunch of fourth and fifth starters, and that's just a bad ballpark to have a bad pitching staff, a bad division to have a bad pitching staff. So to me, I wouldn't be shocked if they lost like 110 games. They're going to be an awful team. So I did play the Rockies under. I played the Angels under wins too, just because, look, you lose Ohtani. Trout can't stay on the field. Trout, I think 2016 was the last time he had 500 at bats. He has quietly had what looked like it was going to be like a top 5 career of all time. He could be a top 5 player. Like, he's still going to make the Hall of Fame because what he did the first half of his career, but he has not played to that standard in a long time. He always misses a month or so. And as these guys that get hurt, as they get older, they're not going to get healthier, you wouldn't think. And even last year, I mean, his numbers weren't eye-popping. So to me, again, look at the division. The Rangers won the World Series. The Astros are as good an organization as there is in the sport. The Mariners are like an 88, 90-ish win team. They almost made the playoffs last year. They missed it by a game. Okay, they'll beat up on the A's, but I just think they won like 73 last year. Ohtani was Superman, both sides of the ball, and they only won 73. So to me, this team just has no direction. I played under on them. And another under, I played this when Senga was announced hurt. And this is interesting because some of these books are just slow to the punch. Like, they're posting so much stuff, basketball, player props, college basketball lines, hockey. They're not always paying attention. Where, like, Senga not being ready for the start of the season should move the number because he's their only good pitcher. The whole thing with the Mets was, hey, we have Senga, and we'll just piece the rest of the rotation together. Maybe a couple guys step up. If you don't have Senga, and you might not have him for an extended period of time, and he has a history in Japan of getting hurt, There's no pitching there. It's Jose Quintana. It's Luis Severino. Maybe they get something out of him. It's Joey Lucchesi. And look at their division. You get 28 games against the Braves and the Phillies. Both those teams absolutely mashed. The Marlins, I know there's some regression coming, but they at least made the playoffs last year. Even the Nationals are up and coming with all the stuff they got for Soto and for Scherzer. They've gotten high draft picks, so they're a couple years away, but still they've got some younger players. I thought they played well at times last year. They went way over their total. They were one of the more profitable teams in baseball last year. They were better than people think, and they gave the Mets a hard time. So to me, the Mets getting to like 83, 84 wins and being 5 or 6 games over 500 with that pitching, I just think it's a stretch, even though I do like that everyday lineup with Nimmo, Alonso, Lindor. Alvarez is going to be a big-time player. I don't think there's enough pitching. So under Rockies, under Mets, under Angels, nobody is going to win any games this year in baseball.
No, but I like an underfest because, again, the season win total market is shaded a bit to the over if you added up the possible wins of all the teams. Right. So, having the instinct to go unders on teams is never a bad one, and especially with the Rockies, dude. Like, as you were going through the Rockies thing, I don't know that there's a franchise in North American sports, forget baseball, that can't figure it out like the Colorado Rockies. And I'm not even sure it's their fault, Will. I just feel like the nature of that ballpark, you almost have to roster 2 separate teams to optimize a home team and an away team. And it's almost impossible for that franchise.
And all the former players say, hey, the curveball breaks a certain way at home. It doesn't break, and then you just have to adjust. And it's very hard. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I've talked to players on that team who have you can tell it's just moribund. Okay, we'll get to college basketball here after the break.
I do have another fun one for baseball.
Yeah,
if you
please,
want
please, before we
long
do.
shot. DraftKings has these. The race to 10 wins. So first team to win 10 wins. I haven't checked the language, like if you both win 10 wins, get on the 10th win the same day, or is it like your football bet?
Like my football bet.
Last team.
Yeah,
your Carolina one where it's literally down to the minute, down to the second. But the Baltimore Orioles are 20-1 to win the race to 10 wins, be the first team to win 10 games. You look at their start of the schedule, there are a couple off days sprinkled in, which hurts you. But other than that, I mean, they're home against the Angels, the Red Sox, they play the Pirates, and they play the Brewers, their first 12 or 13 games. They could have like a Tampa Bay Rays-esque start to the season where you look up and they're like 10-1, 12-2. So they have a soft schedule early. Again, there's a day off, I think, in between a couple of their series that's adjusting the number, and they're, Bradish is hurt, but still, Baltimore 20-1. That's a fun one. And I don't know, maybe you wait a little longer till the season starts if you don't want to tie up your money. But that's one where if you wait till the start of the season, it's only an instant gratification bet because then you're only waiting a week or two to cash. And I think that one's live.
I like that. Available at DraftKings. All right, we'll do college basketball after the break, I promise. But last 30 seconds, give me Will Hill's 30 seconds on the New York Yankees. Go.
Probably just a pitcher short. They got 2 of the 5 best offensive players in baseball in Judge and Soto. They needed to bring in Soto to appease the fans because what they've done the last few off seasons has been terrible. But you got Cole, and again, they're similar to the Mets. Better situation, but you need some of these guys to step up like Stroman, Schmidt. But they're going to be a good team. They'll be in the mix.
I was hoping for more anger, to be honest with you.
No,
but okay.
They'll be okay.
Okay, all right. Nothing better than Will Hill's daily text last year of the bottom half of the Yankees lineup and just how angry he was. College hoops with Will. We'll go through the roll call of teams. Who does he think can win it all, and who does he completely cross out? That's next. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This week on DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers can deposit $5 and get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. Download the app and use promo code VSiN when you sign up. That's VSIN. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gill Alexander, Kelly Bidlin, and Will Hill, kind enough to join us. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir? You wanted to say
No, we're resetting things with Will.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He'll be back in un momento.
I've gone to the easel, by the way, today.
Oh, have you?
The easel. Doing the show by easel.
What was it? You forgot to charge your computer last night?
I thought I did, but then apparently I didn't.
Oh, man.
I don't know what's happening. Yeah, we'll get back to Will Hill because I want to go through college basketball with him. Can I get my tennis bet in here real quick?
Let's go.
Then?
What you got?
So yesterday I come on and I'm talking about how great the tennis season has been, and we had 4 bets yesterday. One had already hit when we were on the air yesterday. One was happening while we were talking about it. It ends up hitting. to go 2-0. But, of course, the 2 bets I gave out for the rest of the day, those 2 lose. So the jinx, of course, of doing it on.
Yeah,
we end up with actually a modest win on the day yesterday, going 2-2. But if you only got the 2 picks on the show, it didn't go that way for you. It's 15.5 units on the tennis season. I only have 1 play today. It is on Jakub Menšik, or for us phonetically, you like the phonetic tennis.
Oh, yeah. Where are we headed to? First of all, so that's how you have to start every tennis
Well,
bet
when there's 5
giveaway.
tournaments,
right, exactly.
You're correct. We're in Dubai.
Men, women,
Men.
what country, possibly what city?
Men, Dubai, Jakub Menšik taking on the Spaniard, even though his name doesn't seem Spanish, Alejandro, his first name does, but Davidovich Fokina, which I believe is pronounced Davidovich Fokina. Doesn't sound like a Spanish last name. But I'm on Jakub Menšik, that's spelled Jacob Menšik, basically.
Yeah, Jacob Menšik, yep.
I got him at, I'll tell you what, is he right around? Let me find out if it's a price.
Plus 125 right now.
Oh, okay.
At DraftKings.
Plus 125. And again, these are all at VSiN.com/picks. VSiN.com/picks for subscribers. I do my tennis the previous night. It's hosts, guests, every show on this network. That's how we do it. I put it in last night at plus 129, so only a few pennies worse.
That's not bad.
You could actually play it.
Hey, Chris O'Connell's in action today against Hubert Urkacz. What's his name? Urkacz? Hubert Urkacz?
Hubert Urkacz.
I screwed that one up.
You think
Chris O'Donnell, it's good to see Robin back in action. He's playing tennis these days?
It's Chris O'Connell, first of all. I thought you meant, wasn't that MTV guy, Chris O'Connell, or something like that?
Yeah. Who am I screwing up? Which one am I screwing up?
You're an actor, Chris O'Donnell.
O'Donnell was the actor,
yes,
right?
Yes.
There was the guy, MTV. Was that what it was?
Was it Chris O'Connell? Something like that. Chris Connolly. Chris Connolly was his name.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. Either way, it's neither of those guys, Kelly. It's an actual pro tennis player. Will Hill, kind enough to join us once again. Do we have Will by a... Oh, we didn't. How you doing, Will?
Kurt Loder is the name of the guy you guys are trying to think of.
Kurt Loder. Downtown Julie Brown, I think, is who we're getting mixed up with. Those are the days.
No,
By the way, that Menšik guy is my favorite player ever. That guy, I think he paid for your vacation. That Menšik guy is like the best tennis player of all time. Hopefully not the most.
Oh, we have hit on Jakub Menšik. Here's the thing, though, and this is the mind of the sports bettor. We hit on Menšik at least 3 times at plus money, maybe 4. I can't remember. But the one day I didn't play him, he was a $5 dog against Andrei Rublev, and I thought about it, and I didn't do it, and he wins in straight sets. And so I hate myself, even though I didn't lose a penny on it. It's like again, I'd rather lose money on a stock than not win thinking to buy it and then not buying it, and then it soars long. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it does. Okay. Anyway, Will, ready to do some college basketball roll call? Ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Will Hill, ladies and gentlemen, the man who picked FAU on the Megapod last year to get to the Final Four. By the way, let's just start there. FAU 2024 ain't FAU 2023?
Oh, not the same team. Can't rebound, can't defend. It's weird to say a championship hangover for a team that didn't win a championship, but I do think there is a little bit of that where, like, they were in Madison Square Garden in the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. They're a second away from the national title game and ranked top 10 coming into the season. And it's not the same team. Maybe they I don't know. It's just there's a little bit of a hangover, though.
Okay.
Clearly not the same team. They've been awful against the spread, too.
Here we go. You tell us, can they win, in your opinion? Are they a legit contender to win the title, or are they illegit? I believe that's what the kids say. Marquette.
Ooh. Illegit.
Okay. No explanation needed. Creighton.
Oh, I don't know if we were going rapid fire here.
Yeah, one sentence.
I don't know. That UConn game sticks in my head. I could see them getting to a Final Four. I don't know that they have the upside to win 6 games. I don't know if they're good enough defensively, so I'll say legit.
Creighton.
I'll say legit. Don't feel great about it, but I'll say legit.
Okay. Again.
I think again, the recency bias, them bearing UConn, but they get good shot diet, a lot of shots at the rim, threes, they get good looks. I kind of like that team.
Did you say a good shot diet? I like that term.
Good shot diet, yes.
I like that.
Good shot diet.
Very nice. Duke.
No, I just don't think they have the upside. And I don't need to hear the whining about the court storming either. My goodness. One guy rolls his ankle in 20 years and we have to change everything. But no, I don't think that team's good enough.
It was Caitlin, man. That's what did this. Carolina.
True. No, I don't think they're good enough on defense. And a lot of their defensive stats are skewed because nobody could make a three against them in ACC play. They went into the game the other day against Miami. Opponents were shooting 28% from three. And if you look at some of the shot quality stuff, like they're giving open looks. So I don't trust the defense. I don't know that Hubert Davis is a great coach. I know they went to the title game a couple years ago, but I will say no, illegitimate.
Tennessee.
No, and no. Rick Barnes. 3 reasons: Rick Barnes, and Rick Barnes.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that one. No, okay. Purdue.
Nope, I can't get there. Maybe this is the year they prove me wrong, but I got to see it to believe it with them. I don't know if the rest of the team's that good besides Edey. I think you can take Edey out of these games. No, I just seen it too many times with this coach, with this team. There's just too many red flags with Purdue. No.
All right, here's where it gets good. Auburn.
No, I don't think their backcourt's good enough. I'll say no.
Arizona.
Yes. Well, on their best day, they got to string 6 of them together. Them and Kentucky, man, you're gonna have a hard time knowing what to do with them in their tournament because their best day, they look like an NBA team. Their worst day, they look like an NIT team. But their best day is very impressive. They can run, they can rebound. I will say yes with Arizona.
So sort of legit.
Sort of legit, I think you said.
We're working up to 2 legit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
legit.
hoping to get to.
Now, the highest level
I'm
is.
sorry, I got away from the exercise.
Yeah.
Legit.
Highest level is too legit to quit.
Correct. Yeah, we're working our way up
Okay.
there.
Yeah, let's get the technical terms here. All right, Kentucky. You mentioned them. Kentucky. Same thing.
I have to say legit just because they've got like 7 NBA guys, and anytime you roll up that much NBA talent, you have the capability of doing it. Now, stringing 6 together is another story, but I'll say legit just because of the upside.
Houston.
Yeah, legit. I mean, again, I'm a little skeptical based on the last couple tournaments. That Villanova game where they shot 1 of 23 from 3 2 Elite Eights ago still sticks in my head. The Miami game sticks in my head, but they are really good defensively. That was a gutty win the other day against Baylor. It would be stupid to say not legit. So they are legit. They're really good.
All right, I know better than to ask legit or not legit on UConn because I know you think they're legit. But are they the team to beat in all of this?
I still think so. I still think so. I just think they're tested. They won it last year. If we got a UConn-Houston final, that would be interesting in terms of like what that number would be. KenPom has Houston as the best team, but I think like the market thinks UConn's the best team. That would be like the ideal title game. But yeah, I think they're the favorite. Again, the format makes it tricky. It's one and done. It's single elimination. I mean, you have a game like Creighton had where they go 14-28 for 3, and you're probably going home. But I think they're the favorite and the rightful favorite.
Is there a team I did not mention that you think legit can win March Madness?
I think you covered them all. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Probably not DePaul. Probably not Georgetown. No, I think that's the interesting team to me, not in terms of winning it, and they play tonight, is St. John's because the committee would love to get them in. New York market, Patino, they're a draw. They got to beat Butler, though. If they could beat Butler, they finish against DePaul and Georgetown, and they get the Big East tournament in their building, so they could probably get to 20 wins. Which I think 20 wins, Big East, Patino, I think that would get them in. But that's a big game tonight at Butler. It's almost a playing game, I think. Do you have a play in that game or any other game in college hoops tonight? I didn't play that. A couple boring ones. I played under 128.5 Northwestern in Maryland. Maryland's just an under team. They play really good defense. They can't score. Northwestern shot the 3 well, but I think there's some regression coming there. So you can't really go wrong playing some of these Maryland games under. They're a dead nut under team. And I did take 12 with Arizona State. They've played a little better recently. They're home against Arizona, a rivalry game. So that's Brock Osweiler's alma mater in a rivalry game. So I don't know if he'll be in the building, but taking 12 with Arizona State against an Arizona team that could be up and down is a spot I like here. Osweiler believes all rules should be thrown out the window in rivalry. Yes. Prison rules tonight. Anything NBA, real quick, or nothing? Celtics Nuggets to meet in the finals is plus 640 at DraftKings. I just think that's a good bet, and I think Nuggets 5-1 is staring us in the face. That's an obvious bet. They're the best team. I sort of hinted at it yesterday, and we will talk exactas. Yes, Kelly, NBA? Tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. I thought Will set it up beautifully. Will, thank you, and I'll ignore the unsolicited shot at Giants fans, which felt like a shot at me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. See ya. At Not the Will Hill, Bear Bets Pod, Should Have Bet More, and of course the Mega Pod. We're coming back.